If you thought Shane Beamer and South Carolina were done taking advantage of the transfer portal this offseason, then well, think again. On Monday, around noon, Beamer took to Twitter to share his third welcome home commitment tweet in the past 3 days, with this one being for transfer wideout Antwane Wells Jr. Wells was a standout at FCS powerhouse James Madison, where he holds the single-season records for receiving yards, receiving touchdowns, and receptions. Gamecock Central recruiting insider Wes Mitchell has more on Wells' commitment.
We knew the Gamecocks would look to add at least one, if not more, wide receivers from the transfer portal, and they get a big one in former James Madison wide receiver Antwane Wells Jr. One of the best players on one of the best teams in all of FCS, Wells was an absolute stat stuffer for the Dukes this past season, finishing the year in the top 4 in the FCS in receptions, receiving yards, and touchdowns. Remarkably, in just over a season and a half, Wells is already in the top 10 in all 3 of those categories for a James Madison career. A former Highland Springs standout from Richmond, Virginia, Wells spent a season at Fort Union Military before enrolling in college. He'll have 3 years of eligibility left at South Carolina, but also will technically be draft eligible after this season. The 6'1", 204-pounder has excellent hands, a knack for getting open, and is credited as being a highly competitive kid by his former coach, which should make for a nice fit in Shane Beamer's program. Wells visited South Carolina late last week and expected to go through spring practice with the Gamecocks.
Now, I spoke to an opposing coach about Wells who told me that he was an absolute matchup nightmare to prepare for, adding that if he's able to pick up the playbook quickly, he could be an instant game changer for South Carolina. For the latest on all your Gamecock news, keep it locked in to GamecockCentral.com. Until next time, I'm Mike Uva.